This footage was found on a laptop in an abandoned Portland apartment 3 weeks ago. The tenant, David Miller, had vanished without a trace, leaving behind only this recorded testimony and security camera evidence that police refused to explain publicly. What you're about to read is David's final account, typed frantically in his last known hours. His grandmother's house has since been demolished. The doll described in this story has never been found. Missing person reports show David Miller, 28, software engineer, disappeared on the 31st of October, 2024. His apartment was found with doors locked from the inside, windows sealed shut, but David was gone. The only clues were scratch marks on the walls, a strange sulfurous smell, and this document left open on his computer. 3 neighbors reported hearing a child's laughter coming from his apartment for days after his disappearance, but security footage shows no one entering or leaving the building. If you recognize the doll described below, do not approach it. Contact authorities immediately. This is David's story, in his own words. I'm writing this because I need people to know what's in that attic. My name is David Miller. If you're reading this, I'm probably already gone. The thing I found isn't just a doll, it's something far worse. My grandmother Rose died 3 weeks ago. Heart attack in her sleep, they said. But I know better now. I know what killed her. Rose lived in a Victorian house built in 1887. The house had been in our family for generations, passed down through women who all died young and alone. My great-grandmother, found dead in the attic at 34. My great-great-grandmother, discovered in the basement, her face frozen in terror. And now Rose, at 67, the oldest any woman in our family had lived in that house. I should have seen the pattern, should have understood the warning. When I climbed into that storage attic, my phone's flashlight flickered like it was fighting against some invisible force. The air was thick with the stench of decay and something else sulfur, like matches struck in hell. In the darkest corner, beneath a sheet that felt ice cold to the touch, I found her. The doll sat in an ancient rocking chair carved with strange symbols that hurt to look at directly. She was beautiful in the most terrifying way possible. Porcelain skin so realistic it seemed to pulse with life, auburn hair that moved despite the still air, and eyes. God, those eyes. They weren't glass, they were human eyes, green as poison, tracking my every movement with intelligent malice. When our gazes met, I heard something that made my blood freeze, a child's giggle, soft and sweet and absolutely evil. Her lips were slightly parted, revealing tiny white teeth that looked sharp, and as I stared, paralyzed with terror, that smile widened. When I reached out with trembling hands to pick her up, her porcelain skin was warm, fever warm, as if something burning lived inside that beautiful shell. The moment I touched her, every light in the house went out, and I heard my grandmother's voice, faint and desperate. "David, put her back before it's too late." But it was already too late. The doll's eyes rolled back, showing only white, and her mouth opened in a silent scream that I felt in my bones. The temperature plummeted, and frost began forming on the walls. I should have dropped her and run. Instead, some compulsion I couldn't resist made me carry her downstairs, like she was pulling my mind along invisible strings. The next morning brought fresh horrors. I woke up to find that every photo in my apartment had been altered. In family pictures, the faces of my relatives had been scratched out, replaced with Lilith's face drawn in black ink. Even pictures on my phone showed the same alterations. But worse were the new photos that had appeared overnight. Dozens of images I'd never taken, all showing me sleeping, taken from impossible angles from inside my walls, from inside my closet, from positions near my ceiling. In every photo, Lilith could be seen at the edge of the frame, watching. My apartment began to decay around me. Paint peeled off walls in long strips, revealing wood underneath that was black with rot. The floorboards warped and creaked constantly. Windows developed cracks that spread in patterns that looked like writing. The temperature fluctuated wildly. One room would be freezing while the next was sweltering. Sometimes I'd walk from room to room and find frost covering every surface, while other times the air shimmered with painful heat. Electronic devices began malfunctioning. My television would turn on by itself, always tuned to static. But if you looked closely, you could see shapes moving in the white noise, small figures writhing in endless torment. My computer started typing by itself, writing the same message over and over. Let me in, let me in, let me in documents I couldn't delete. Even unplugged, the screen would flicker on, showing that phrase burned into the monitor. But worst was what Lilith was doing to me personally. I stopped being able to leave my apartment. Every time I tried to open the door, I'd find myself in a different room instead, as if space itself was folding around Lilith's will. When I attempted to climb out windows, I'd somehow end up back in my living room, facing her shelf. She'd moved to a place of honor now, prominently displayed where she could see everything. Her dress had changed colors, shifting from burgundy to deep red to black, sometimes seeming made of liquid shadow. Her eyes followed me constantly, and I could hear her whispering even when I was in other rooms. She told me stories about my family, secrets that made my skin crawl. Your great-grandmother tried to destroy me, she whispered one night. She threw me in the fireplace, but I just laughed. Fire can't hurt something born in darkness. She tried to bury me, but I clawed back up. In the end, she begged me to take her instead of her daughter, so I did. What are you? I finally asked. I am what remains when innocence dies screaming. I am the hunger that lives in nightmares. I am the thing your ancestors summoned when they were desperate enough to trade their souls for power. I am writing this as my last act of free will. Lilith is sitting across from me now, no longer pretending to be an inanimate doll. She moves freely, walking around my apartment like she owns it, which she does now. My hands are barely my own anymore. Sometimes when I try to type, my fingers move on their own, writing things I don't want to write, making promises to serve something I can't comprehend. The apartment has become something else entirely. The walls breathe now, expanding and contracting. The ceiling is stretched upward into darkness, and sometimes I hear things moving up there, scratching, skittering sounds. She's brought friends. In the corners of my vision, I can see small shapes moving other dolls, or spirits of those who crossed her path over the centuries. They whisper constantly in ancient languages, and their voices are getting louder. My reflection has stopped appearing in mirrors entirely. When I look at reflective surfaces now, I see only Lilith looking back, wearing my face like a mask. It's almost time, David, she says, and her voice now comes from my own throat. You've been such a good host. Your fear has been delicious, but now it's time to let go and join your family. She gestured to the corner, and I saw them translucent figures of women I recognized from old photos. My great-grandmother, my great-great-grandmother, and others going back generations. All trapped, all staring at me with hollow, pleading eyes. They tried to fight me too, Lilith continues, but in the end, they all understood. This is what the Miller family was meant for. To feed me, to serve me, to become part of something greater than your tiny human existence. I can feel myself fading. My memories are becoming fuzzy, replaced by older memories that aren't mine. I remember things from centuries ago, from perspectives that aren't human. But I also remember something else, something Lilith doesn't know I know. I found it in my grandmother's papers instructions written in Rose's shaking handwriting, a final desperate attempt to break the curse. The demon can be stopped, but only by the willing sacrifice of a Miller descendant, someone who chooses to take it with them into whatever comes after death. I can hear sirens in the distance. Neighbors must have called about the sounds, the screaming, the inhuman noises that have been getting louder each night. But they'll be too late to save me. That was never the point. Lilith is standing directly in front of me now, her clawed hand reaching for my face. When she touches me, I'll be gone completely. Unless I choose differently. Goodbye, Lilith, I whisper, and I see confusion flicker across her ancient features. I'm reaching for the gas line behind my stove. I'm going to break it, flood the apartment with gas, and light a match. The explosion should destroy both of us, send us both into whatever realm lies beyond. She realizes what I'm doing. She's screaming, her child's voice rising to a shriek like breaking glass. The apartment is shaking, pictures falling, windows shattering. But she can't stop me. The ritual that binds her to the Miller family works both ways. She needs my willing cooperation, and I'm choosing to deny her that. The gas is filling the room now. Lilith is clawing at me, but her attacks pass through my body. She's already pulled me too far into her realm to affect the physical world directly. I can see the other spirits more clearly now, all the Miller women who came before me. They're smiling. They've been waiting for someone strong enough to make this choice. My grandmother Rose is here too. She looks proud. I'm lighting the match now. Lilith's screams are making my ears bleed, but I can barely feel it anymore. The flame is beautiful, dancing like a tiny orange spirit. If you find this document, don't look for me. Don't look for the doll. We're going somewhere that living people can't follow. Tell my family I'm sorry it took so long for one of us to be brave enough. The curse dies with me. This document was found on David Miller's laptop. The apartment building suffered a mysterious gas explosion on the 31st of October, 2024. David's remains were never found, though witnesses reported seeing a small figure in the flames, a figure that looked like a child, screaming as it was consumed. No trace of the doll has ever been discovered. Local children report seeing a little girl with green eyes and auburn hair in the empty lot where the building once stood. She appears only at 3:33 a.m., and she's always crying. But the neighborhood dogs no longer howl at night. The Miller family line ended with David's death. The curse, it seems, died with him.